Game of Thrones novelist George R.R. Martin has provided an update on his plans for the universe, especially with HBO announcing at least 3 animated shows are in the works and that 2 of them have been shelved. Unfortunately, he did not provide an update on his novel Winds of Winter, which he previously promised would be released in 2020, over 4 years ago. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask if you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. With this out of the way, let's get into this. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. Headline reads, as Winds of Winter novel remains unfinished, George R.R. Martin announces new animated projects set in the Game of Thrones world. Indeed, he did. He posted this on his blog. HBO and I have our own animated projects set in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. None of them have been greenlit yet, but I think we are getting close to taking the next step with a couple of them. When this last round of development started a few years back, we had 4 ideas for animated shows with some great talents attached. Writers' rooms and summits, outline, and scripts followed in due course. But alas, 2 of the original projects were subsequently shelved. He then went on to note that while these 2 projects have been shelved, he hopes to share them, quote, in another form, perhaps as graphic novels. He also kind of held out hope that they might indeed get adapted somewhere down the line. Because he says nothing is really killed in Hollywood. It's all just about the timing. Not only did he note that he had 2 original animated series in development, but he also revealed that a series titled 9 Voyages about the legendary voyages of the sea snake is now being animated rather than a live action. He explained the decision. Budgetary constraints would likely have made a live action version prohibitively expensive, with what with half the show taking place at sea and the necessity of creating a different port every week, from Driftmark to Lys to the Basilisk Isles to Volantis to Karth to, well, on and on and on. He then added, "There's a whole world out there, and we have a lot better chance of showing it all with animation. So we now have 3 animated projects underway." He did not provide any details about the Winds of Winter novel, which I don't think is ever going to be finished. He previously said that the novel would be completed by the World Science Fiction Convention in the summer of 2020. He wrote this, but I tell you this, if I don't have the Winds of Winter in hand when I arrive in New Zealand for Worldcon, you have here my formal written permission to imprison me in a small cabin on White Island, overlooking the lake of sulfuric acid until I'm done, just so long as the acrid fumes do not screw up my old DOS word processor. I'll be fine. Clearly, no one has taken him up on this promise. He is not locked up in a small cabin on White Island, and he is seemingly nowhere near, finished the Winds of Winter novel. In July 2020, he added, "This writing stuff is hard. Even so, it has been going well of late. 3 more chapters completed this past week and good progress on several more. Still a long, long way to go, though. Do not get too excited." Again, July 2020. And then in November 2020, we got this. "So let me assure you that when not sweating out election returns or brooding over other real world problems, I have continued to work on the Winds of Winter. No, sorry, still not done, but I do inch closer. It is a big, big book. I try not to dwell on that too much. I write a chapter at a time, a page at a time, a sentence at a time, a word at a time. It is the only way. And sometimes I rewrite." So who really knows exactly what he's doing, if he's actually working on the Winds of Winter or not? I think the only way you can actually finish the story and make it be good is to completely change the ending that we saw in the television show. It needs to have the I always blank on this guy's name. The Night King, I think, is his name. He needs to win. He needs to defeat everyone there in Westeros, and then it ends with him going across the ocean to take on the rest of the known world. And the reason why the Night King needs to win is because you need to turn this show into a tragedy, because all of the debauchery, depravity, degeneracy that is in the show, the people need to pay for their sins, and that payment comes at the hands of the Night King. He comes to collect, and it shows that their pride, their ego, their greed, their lust, all of those sins that the people in the Game of Thrones in Westeros have been committing, they pay for it, and they pay for it dearly with the Night King coming to collect. And I think that is basically how the show needs to end. And that would actually show that all these things that these people are doing are absolutely terrible and they pay the price for it, rather than trying to show them as some kind of values to emulate, and they actually can still defeat the evil that they are participating in, which doesn't really make any sense. And I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people rejected the television show's ending. And if George R. R. Martin was smart, he would indeed have the Night King win. But those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you guys think about this. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.